Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Ross Benjamin, and I'm proudly wearing my Buffalo Sabres hat today because we have not had a lot to cheer about with the Sabres over the last decade or so, Jesse, and we finally do. So I'm going to, while it lasts, I'm going to be wearing this hat, and hopefully I wore it the other day, and they came up with a big 6-3 come from behind win over Pittsburgh. But we're not talking NHL. We're talking with Jesse Schule of jesseschule.com, and we got a couple NFL free picks. Jesse, how are you, buddy?
I'm hanging in there, Ross. It was a bit of a rough week for me, but after the start I had with football season, I was due for a rough week, and I don't enjoy it. I'm sure my clients don't enjoy it, but thankfully they've been few and far between.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. You were off to not a good start. You were off to a torrid start. And anybody who thought that Jesse was going to continue hitting between 75 and 80% of all his football plays for the season doesn't know a lot about sports betting. It's just reality. I mean, the mark we all like to aim for is 60%, which we all consider a great year. But, even with your bad week, you're still at a very high win rate. And folks, you can find all his picks at jesseschule.com. Not only does he do the NFL and college football, he does the NHL, the NBA, college basketball, just like myself. He hits all those mainstream sports. And as opposed to me, you give out some soccer plays too, right, Jesse?
I'm a big soccer guy, especially during the World Cup. And if you were impressed by my start to the football season, Ross, you'd be equally as impressed with my bets in the World Cup.
I look forward to it. I hate that they moved it because of the weather in Qatar to November. I just think going head to head against the NFL and that here in the States anyway, I can't speak for Canada or anywhere else. I know anywhere else in the world it doesn't matter besides here. That's the main event. That's where everybody stops everything, is when the World Cup takes place. I like Canada's chances a lot better than the U.S. with all the injuries they've been accumulating over the last couple months in their league play.
Well, the U.S. got a break with the group, though. They're in a far weaker group. That Canada got a real poor draw as far as their group goes. They're in a group with Belgium and Croatia. It's going to be tough for them to advance.
Yes. But you know what? I mean, they got world-class players now, Davies is a great striker. I mean, so they'll hold their own. And I know that Canada hasn't been to the World Cup in a long time, and people there are very excited about that coming up. And we here in the United States, after taking for granted, we're going to make the World Cup every year. And the last World Cup, we did not make it, which was a huge embarrassment. So we'll see. It's a very young roster. I don't expect a lot of things. Yes, it's a weaker group with Wales and Iran and England. But, England right now is one of the best teams in the world, even though they haven't performed well in the UEFA, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, the last time I was paying attention to England in international football was the 2 years ago in the Euro, and they went to the final and lost on penalties to Italy. So they looked pretty good then.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's essentially the same team.
So also look for Jesse's World Cup picks. If you're someone who likes to watch the World Cup, doesn't know a lot about the intricacies of soccer or football, as you call it in many other countries, Jesse could fill you in and put you on a winning side. So you could also find his picks at jesseschule.com in the World Cup as well. You could find me at rbwins.com, folks. NFL right now, 31-21, cashed in again last night, which makes my NFL primetime picks 15-6 this year. My NFL 10-star top plays 8-1 on the year, dating back to last year, 19-6 with my last 25. College football, 2+ weeks, 8-4. As I cashed in last night with Coastal Carolina. By the way, I went 3-0 last night, folks, between the NBA, college football, and the NFL, 4-0 the last 2 days. So things are heating up awfully well, and you can find me at rbwins.com. All right, let's get to our free picks. Jesse is going to be discussing the NFC West battle between the surprising Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. That game will take place in Phoenix on Sunday afternoon. I believe 4:05 p.m. Eastern time start, if I'm not mistaken, or 4:25. One of those, it's in the late window. And Jesse, take it away. Right now, we're seeing Arizona as a 2-point favorite in this contest.
That's right, Ross. And you're right. It is very surprising that this is a matchup between the first place team in the NFC West and the last place team in the NFC West. One of those is surprising, and it's not Arizona. I don't know if I expected them to be last, but I did bet on them to fall short of their season win totals in the offseason. And when I wrote about that, the one thing that I had against them was their offensive line and how poorly their offensive line was ranked. And lo and behold, I look at this game and they've got 3 starters. They could be without as many as 3 starters on their offensive line this week against Seattle. You look at this, Seattle beat them already at home 3 weeks ago. Kyler Murray was sacked 6 times in that game, speaking of the offensive line. Yeah. And a situational bettor might look at this as a revenge game or a good spot to bounce back with the Arizona at home. And, but you look at the injuries, you look at the way Seattle's playing, you look at the quarterback play. I'm leaning towards Seattle. I mean, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both returned to practice on Thursday. They were a full go at practice. Geno Smith's been great this year, just shy of 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Kyler Murray, bad decisions, turning the ball over. Poor guys playing behind a really poor offensive line. The trends do support Seattle here as well. The underdog has covered in 12 of the last 16 head-to-head, and the road team has 11-4-1 in the last 16 head-to-head. I just don't think home field's going to be enough for Arizona, so I'll take the points with Seattle.
So Jesse Schule, he's on the Seattle Seahawks to continue their surprising start to the season, +2 at Arizona. At Seattle, +2 at Arizona from Jesse Schule of jesseschule.com. All right, I'm going to take a look at the Minnesota and Washington game, and Jesse, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts after we're done. And Minnesota right now is a 3-point favorite, and the total is 43.5. I'm going to concentrate on the total in this game, and for good reason. Washington has gone under the total in 5 of their last 6 games. In those 6 contests, there was an average total of 41.3, which is extremely low by NFL standards, and there was only a combined 33.5 points per game scored in those 6 contests. The Washington defense over their last 5 games is allowing just 18 points and 294 yards per contest. The Commanders come in red hot, 3-0 straight up in ATS in their last 3 after getting off to a 1-4 start. That win streak has enabled them to get back to even at 4-4. However, this is also a Commanders team that's gone 8-0 to the under since 2020 when coming off back-to-back ATS covers. I just mentioned they've won their last 3 and covered their last 3, and those 8 games have averaged 37 points per contest. So very low scoring games after they're coming off back-to-back ATS covers. Washington also 14-7 to the under at home since 2020, and that includes 10-3 to the under at home when they're an underdog of 7 or less, which they are in this case. They're a 3-point underdog. Minnesota's played 2 true road games this year. Both have gone under the total, and those games average a combined 35.5 points per game. The Minnesota run defense, I know they give up a lot of yards in the air, and maybe that's why their run defense is so good. But over their last 3 games, they've allowed just a tad over 76 yards per game on the ground and just 3.5 yards per rushing attempt. So if they can make Washington left-handed, meaning having to pass more than they run, that's going to get Washington out of their comfort zone, because this is a very balanced attack that likes to control the clock and play defense, and we'll see what happens in that regard. I'm thinking Minnesota will stop the run and also limit the success of Washington in the air. And I just mentioned all the good stuff about the Washington Commanders and their possibility of going under at home, including their defense, how good they've been in the last 5 games. I'm going to go Minnesota, Washington under the total of 43.5 on Sunday. Jesse Schule, he likes those red hot Seattle Seahawks +2 at Arizona. Jesse, any thoughts? And well, you could blend that right into what you may have coming up this weekend.
It's going to be a busy weekend for me, Ross. There's going to be plenty of soccer. We got the Game 6 of the World Series. Plus, there's going to be a full slate of college football. After a rough Saturday last Saturday, I look forward to getting some back against the bookies this week. So, yeah, we're focused on a big card for tomorrow.
I'm betting on you, my friend. One bad week isn't about to deter me. I think that you're going to bounce back, and you're going to bounce back in a huge way like you always do. Last Saturday I had a 10-star top play in college football on Louisville, plus the 3.5. They just blew out Wake Forest. Wake Forest was number 10 at the time, and we won that game 48-21 as a 3.5-point underdog. So a nice catch there. Always love those underdogs that win straight up, and not only win straight up, but win convincingly in doing so. My NFL 10-star top
6 turnovers.
7 turnovers in the third quarter.
Oh, in one quarter.
8 turnovers in the game, all in the second half. So, I mean, you can't, even if you're trying to throw a game, you can't do it any better than that.
You're lucky to get the ball 7 times in a quarter, right?
Yeah,
in order to turn it over 7 times, you got to get it 7 times.
Right, and they turned it over 7 times, and that game was, I believe, 14-10 at the half. Wake Forest.
14-13. I was watching it.
14-13. Okay.
Of course, I had Wake Forest. That pretty much summed up my Saturday. That third quarter, that was like my Saturday card. Looked just like that.
Yeah, I mean, the rarity of that occurring again is really high. It's rare. It's extremely rare. Anyway, not to rub that in, Jesse. I had no idea I wouldn't even brought it up. But anyway, my college football 3-2 last week, NFL 3-2 last week, and NFL 59% on the year at 31-21. And college football on an 8-4 run. NBA won again last night in the NBA, now 43-29, dating back to last year for an NBA run of 60%. NHL just 2-1 so far this year. I'm very selective what I do during the NHL regular season until the playoffs, but when I put something in, it's normally of value, folks. You want to keep an eye on that. rbwins.com is where you can find me. All single game and multi-game daily packages are guaranteed. And if you don't win, you don't make a profit, then I will credit your account the exact amount of your purchase price. You can use it any which way you like at any time. And also, folks, my subscription plan, 3-day, I just added 7-day and week and 30-day packages, all very affordable and discounted off what you would normally get, high discounted off what you would normally get on a daily basis. Any final words, Jesse?
Yeah, I guess we're all looking forward to that Georgia-Tennessee game. Everybody will be tuned into that one.
Yeah, how ironic is that, Jesse, where Georgia, who's been number 1 for the majority of this season and still number 1 in the AP poll, the first college football playoff poll comes out, and lo and behold, Tennessee is number 1 now, and Georgia is number 3. And ironically enough, they're playing each other in the same week. So that makes for a very interesting side note there to see what occurs. I mean, Georgia, defending national champion, Tennessee, I think they're deserving of the number 1 spot. But again, an 8-point underdog is a number 1 team. The first week you get voted number 1, and you're an 8-point better than a touchdown favorite, a touchdown underdog at Georgia. So we'll see. Anyway, Jesse, until the next time, my friend, you have a great weekend. I know you're going to knock them dead. Visit Jesse at jesseschule.com. Visit me at rbwins.com. Folks, to each and every one of you, we appreciate all the viewers out there. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have not subscribed yet, it's absolutely free to do so. And our handicappers on this show are 20-10, 67% over the last 3 weeks, folks. So I don't know what you're waiting for. For Jesse Schule and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.